Hi, welcome to the Core Coaches Corner, where we take a principle from one of the seven core healthy and happy habits and discuss it through a core lens. And this month we are focusing on conflict resolution. Approaching conflict with confidence is the title of the principle or whatever. And I am joined with Amy today, who is one of our O coaches and a good friend, and super excited to have you with us, Amy.
Thank you.
Um, and Amy and I were talking a little bit, and Amy, what are we going to talk about?
Okay, we're talking about the importance of the message, how you give your message and how you receive the message. We thought it'd be fun to talk about this because it's football season.
Woo-hoo!
And we're watching a lot of good passes and bad passes and good catches and bad catches.
Yes. Yeah.
And so in this module, when you're in a conflict resolution conversation, both people have the responsibility to show up well. And in this case, that would be delivering information with a good pass and receiving information with a good catch.
Yeah. Why don't we talk a little bit, just introductorily about so healthy conflict resolution is about healthy communication, and healthy communication around a subject matter that is difficult for one or both people to be able to do that. That's the essence of conflict resolution. And so communication in general is the process of getting a message from one person to another. That's what communication is. If you break it all down, communication is the transference of a message. And effective communication is that process going well, meaning that the most of or the entirety of the message gets effectively from person A to person B. And that requires, like you mentioned there, that requires person A delivering the entirety of the message as effectively as possible, which we refer to as throwing a good pass. You know, the presenter is the quarterback, and it requires person B receiving the entirety of the message. And any message is made up of three components. And it's really important to understand that, because one of the easiest and most predictable breakdowns around communication is not delivering and or receiving all three elements of the message. And those three components that make up any message are the behavior, the feeling, and why the person is feeling the way that she or he is feeling. And so a good pass then is what, Amy?
You have to have all three parts to communicate.
Yeah. Yep. A good pass is delivering all three of those components right on the numbers of the receiver, right? And how do you do that?
Well, I mean, in our course, it talks about actually there's a sentence right out. You can kind of like fill in the blank, but basically you have to say, I feel this way because of this, and this is why.
Yep. Yeah. When this happens, I feel like this, or I felt like this because of this. And so the little acronym that we use is BFW, that helps you remember behavior and feeling and why. Not super, doesn't roll off the tongue real well or whatever. But if you remember BFW, then you can remember the three components that you either need to deliver or receive. And so when I don't know, whatever, when you didn't respond to my phone call, that's the behavior, right? That's the B. I felt it hurt my feelings. I felt sad. That's the F. And then the W is why, because I felt like you were avoiding me, or because I thought that you didn't want to talk to me. And so if I do that, if I deliver all three elements of the BFW, I'm delivering the pass right on your numbers, right? And then what's it your job to do?
So in receiving it, I need to show that I understand what you said. So I withhold my own opinion about what you said and basically state back what I heard without really any emotion or innuendo. I just say, I heard you say when I didn't call you back, you felt bad because whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Your job as the receiver is to help the presenter, the quarterback, feel understood.
Mm-hmm.
Super important. It's not to agree, it's not to disagree, it's not to correct. Your job is to help the receiver feel understood. Not the receiver, sorry, to help the quarterback feel understood. And you do that by very explicitly and overtly catching all three of those components of the message: the behavior, the feeling, and why. Okay, so how does someone's temperament influence this process?
So I think as far as an O, I'm an OR. So both of my parts come into play. But in general, the O likes happy feelings. And so they usually avoid the conversation. They avoid the conflict because they don't know how to navigate it. They think it's going to go badly and they won't be able to get it back to a feel good place. So, I mean, I would love to hear what you counsel your O people to do to make them want to have the conversation.
Yeah, really, really good question. And you hit the nail on the head. O's typically, when they finally communicate, tend to be pretty good communicators. Because O's are the most people oriented of the types, and they're motivated to have things go well. They want to feel good, like you said. And so O's, when they finally get to those difficult conversations, typically do pretty well in them. It's just getting the O brain to be willing to engage in the conflict. And that's the really difficult part, because the O wants things to be fun and enjoyable and lighthearted and buoyant, and conflict is not that. And so two things that I would highlight here. One is one of the reasons, and I actually mentioned this in our coach's corner conversation with Camille, but one of the reasons why I developed the CPR framework to help with communication is for O's and C's. Really for everybody, but O's and C's have a difficult time wanting to engage in conflict. And so by having a structured process, O's don't love a lot of rules and structure, but when you have a process that enables you to walk through a difficult conversation in a healthy way and effectively, it mitigates and reduces some of the negative emotion around it, which is really good for you O's out there. And so one of the things that I try to do when I'm working with O's is to help them see that being willing to engage in a conversation, a conflict resolution, is in their best interest, because it gets them to feeling good again. By being willing to work through the conflict, it gets you back to a good enjoyable place. And then also helping them see what it looks like and feels like when it goes well, makes it less scary.
Mm-hmm. Like I've heard you in previous conversations talk about doing this with couples in sessions and the change on the demeanor of the, quarterback when they feel like they've been understood.
It's huge, huh?
I'd love to hear you say more about that.
Yeah, I mean it's most of what creates conflict is having our feelings hurt, right? And when there's been a violation of it, either feeling like we matter, like we're being valued or appreciated by the other person, or when we don't feel safe. And so when you feel caught, it feels really good. And it doesn't feel good when you're not in a good place with your partner or whoever you're talking to, your kid or whatever. I tried to do a BFW, have a little CPR moment with my 15-year-old last night. That didn't start out super well, but I think ended okay. But I have to remind myself constantly that what I'm looking for is to have things feel good between us. And when there's unresolved garbage between us, it doesn't feel good. I don't like how it feels when I feel disconnected from somebody that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I don't like feeling like I don't want to be with them, or I want to avoid interacting, or I want to stay at the office longer, or go on a longer bike ride, or whatever. I don't like feeling like that.
Yeah. Like, I think you kind of like brought to the point. It was like, maybe people are avoiding having conflict conversations because they're okay with status quo. But on the other side of the conversation, it actually may be better. Maybe not every time, but a lot of the time,
Yes.
it will be better.
And most of the time, it is better. And if it's not better because you've addressed something, then that thing needed to be addressed anyway. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
maybe it just is more conversation later.
yes. But if I'm like afraid that I don't know, if I'm afraid that you want to break up with me or you want to divorce me or something, and I'm avoiding addressing that because I don't want to face that reality,
Mm-hmm.
and then we talk about it and that is the reality, well, the fact is that I'm better off knowing that than wondering about it or living as if that's true or living as if it's not true when it is true. And so as an O, really being willing to plug in to the fact that this is the way to feel better is really important when it comes to motivation. And it's not, one of the big differences between a healthy O and an unhealthy O is healthy O's do things to create the positive emotion that they want to have in their lives, while unhealthy O's spend life trying to avoid negative emotion. And there's a very different process relationally if you go about your life trying to construct it in a way that creates the kinds of emotions that you want, than if you go through your life trying to make sure that you don't feel things that you don't want to feel. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's great.
Super different. As an O, what have you noticed around this process in your own personal life and relationships? And as you've worked with other people and seen what happens when they resolve conflict well or not?
I am still like learning about this myself. I feel like I'm trying to be brave in sharing my bottled up things in my intimate relationship.
Cheers.
And as far as working with people, it's been really fun to see them be excited about a way like out or a way forward in teaching this information.
Yeah.
One of the things I've gathered from reading various marriage books is that it's actually not a good sign if you never fight with your spouse. That means both people are likely avoiding conversations, hiding feelings, and having it just stay sterile like that is not a thriving relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hard to be brave.
Totally. This doesn't really have anything to do with core, but two, I think, important thoughts from what you said. Um, One is that if your goal is to have a healthy relationship, you have to be willing to work through things. You you can't live with somebody, uh, pay bills with somebody, run a house with somebody, raise kids with somebody, have sex with somebody, um, you know, fix cars or whatever else. You can't live life with somebody and not have problems result. And so if you're going to have a healthy relationship, and if you're going to be close to the important people in your life, what you can't do is to never have a problem. And so then what that leaves is you've got to be willing to address things that need to be addressed if you want to be close. The second thing that is, I think, important, and a lot of people have an unhealthy understanding of, I think, is a lot of people think that they should never let their kids see them fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not a big fan of that. Because your main job as a parent is to do everything in your power to prepare your kids to be able to run their lives well when they leave you. And if they never see healthy conflict resolution modeled for them, how are they going to learn that? They're not going to learn it serendipitously. They're going to learn it. They're going to have to learn it by books or therapy or coaching or, education. So if you can model for your kids healthy conflict resolution, it's a huge gift. And so for those of you that might think that the best parenting is to act like there are never any problems in your marriage or your relationship, I would really encourage you to challenge that thinking, because one, it's not realistic, and it can kind of set your kids up with unhealthy expectations. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that a lot. Whenever you hear stuff like that, you think, oh boy, I could have done it better. But I always like to flip that and think, well, now I know now.
Totally. Yeah.
And there's still future ahead of me. And so I can try to make an impact in my family currently and try to model what I'm learning.
Totally. And it's never too late, is it?
Yeah, it's not too late. So I always love these. I want to always end these conversations very hopeful.
Right.
Be brave. You can do it. It's not too late.
Right. And we have some really simple tools in our Core Advantage resources to help you do this well. Worksheets and examples and videos that really help this be as what's the opposite of scary? As not
achievable,
as easy and approachable as possible. If you're an O or a C, you're still not going to be stoked about conflict, but we have a lot of resources to make it as doable as possible.
Yeah, and it's learning about yourself too.
Totally.
There's some fun in it, even if it seems like, ooh, that seems scary. It's good.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Amy. That's good stuff. Any closing thoughts?
You bet. No, just like what I said a minute ago. I mean, people, be brave. It's not too late.
Yes.
Learn it and do it. You can do it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for watching, and encourage you to check out our other resources, and check out, if you don't know what your core is, take the free assessment at whatsmycore.com. The link is below to find out what your core temperament is.